Hey everyone, Brendan Snyder here. How are you? Thanks so much for joining me and welcome to 10 favorite box sets of 2023. So it was a really good year for music. Killer albums came out, but it was also a great year for archival music. And it seems like more and more that's what bands are going to. That material's already done, is just sitting in the vaults collecting dust so they can gather this stuff up and release it. And it seems like bands are just, I don't know, continuing to find this stuff. And we're getting some cool box sets because of that. I happen to like it. But the crazy thing is, some of these are really, really expensive. So I've had to limit, how much it is that I will spend on these things. Either way, I managed to find some, and I've got 10 favorite box sets of 2023 that I still picked up regardless of price even on some of these. And I'm going to run through with you right now. We'll get into it here in just a bit, but before we get started, if you're new to my channel and haven't already hit the subscribe button, please do. Also leave a comment, hit like. All those things do help support my channel. I would greatly appreciate it. And of course, if you turn on notifications, you're going to stay up to date on really cool videos just like this with 10 favorite box sets of 2023. So right off the bat, I wanted to point this one out because I did pick it up. The brand new Van Halen box set. Now, this one is actually not part of the list because I've ranked these others from 10 down to 1 in terms of my favorite. I opted not to actually put this one in the top 10 because I was so disappointed with it. And I'm just going to really quickly recap this. Most of you guys know how I feel, but I feel as though the remastering on this was more like a remix. And I know that it bothers some of you that I even say that, but there was so much change to the sound from the original masters that I did not like what they had done to it. It's cool to hear, but I don't think this is better. I don't think this is anywhere on the level of the remasters that they did for Raw. Those remasters were better. They enhanced everything and made it good. Whereas this, turning the bass and the drums, real far up front in it, so much so that it was distracting to me on a number of tracks. The rarity aspect of this, which we all had hoped would be a lot more, had 8 tracks on it here. And all of these songs had previously been released in one way or another. And they also, for the CD people, ended up releasing these albums the way that they were on vinyl. So like on Balance, they actually pulled 2 songs off of there because they weren't on the original release of that and put them as studio rarities, but they're not rarities to any of us CD fans. They did the same thing to OU812. So I just ended up having a lot of complaints and gripes about this thing. I did want to point it out. I know a lot of you guys would probably put that as your number 1, but it's not even appearing on mine, just to let you guys know. Okay, kicking things off here. Coming in at number 10, U2, Songs of Surrender, their 4 CD. They called it a box set. It's not really a box to me because it's in such a little flimsy thing here. But it features 40 of their classic songs reinterpreted from their back catalog. This was also to celebrate their 40th anniversary. It tied into Bono's book, which I think was also called Songs of Surrender or something very close like that. So each disc was named for a member. And all in all, I have to say that I really liked what they did to this. The reinterpretation, a lot of it was stripped down, but there was enough difference to the stuff that made it enjoyable to hear, essentially them doing covers of their own stuff. 4 CDs worth was a bit much in my opinion. They probably could have just done 2 albums worth of this stuff. And they did sell a 2 CD version as well as a single disc version. And I have the single disc version, but of course, as a collector, I've got to get it all. And it was numbered, but this one here being 18,706. So how limited is it really when you've got at least 20,000, if not more, of these things floating around out there? But there you go. This one came in at number 10. I'm a big U2 fan, so of course that is going to define it being in my countdown. Probably more so than some of you guys, because I know some of you guys out there who always comment and tell me how much you don't like them. Tough luck. It's in mine. Okay, coming in at number 9, Black Sabbath Live Evil 40th Anniversary Deluxe Edition of the album itself, recorded on the Mob Rules tour. 4 CDs in here. Now, the part that annoyed me out of this was you get, the 2 CD, the double album, remastered just as itself, the original album. Then you get those same album 2 more discs, remixed. That's it. No DVDs, no outtakes, no alternate shows, no anything else in here. Actually kept me from picking up this box set for quite some time. But I went ahead and picked it up because I kept hearing so many people talk about the new 2023 remix that's on here and how the price of the box set, which was a little over 50 bucks, was totally worth it. And I have to say, it did not disappoint. I thought I liked the regular mix of this thing, the original master of it. And I gotta say, after listening to the 2023 remix, I couldn't believe how much better night and day it was. So for that alone, totally worth it. But you get a hardback book, you get a copy of the tour program, you get a poster, they come in individual sleeves, new artwork. So all of that kind of stuff together made the box set very cool. All right, next one up, coming in at number 8 for me, Stevie Nicks Complete Studio Albums and Rarities career spanning 10 CD box set. Got all the albums across there, and the tracks on them broken down. Just opens up like so with the albums inside like that. They're not jostled around falling out the way mine is. But nothing else, no book with this one. So unfortunately with a lot of these box sets, at least the initial ones I'm talking about, the reason they're coming in towards the end is that there's something about them that kind of bothered me. And in this particular case, we get the 8 studio albums, none of the bonus content that was on the deluxe editions of any of those. Instead, we get 2 separate CDs of rarities. A couple of the unreleased tracks do reappear there, but for the most part, those 2 discs of rarities have not been compiled like this. The thing is, the box is oversized, number 1. There's no book, there's no memorabilia, there's no titles on the spines of those LP replica sleeves. And the reproductions of those, some of them have inserts in them, but you can't even read what it is because it is so tiny. So I bought this solely for the 2 CDs of rarities, and it's a pretty penny to spend to get those 2 CDs. That said, the 2 CDs of rarities, and they're coming from soundtracks, other different recordings and one-off singles and stuff like that from maybe tribute albums and whatever, B-sides, was totally worth getting it. And the fact that it's all studio recordings, none of that stuff was live. So very, very cool to go ahead and get that gathered together as opposed to a few tracks here on a deluxe edition of one of the particular albums and a few tracks here on that next one and so forth. Okay, next up, new wave of British heavy metal band Holocaust comes in at number 7 with Heavy Metal Mania. This one here, the complete recordings, Volume 1, so I certainly hope there's going to be some more from them, 1980 to 84. For me, there's tons of unreleased stuff on here, but this album alone, which is called No Man's Land from 1984, has never had a CD release, at least not one that I was able to find. But you also get Hologram, Steal the Stars. That's a offshoot of the band where they changed their name from Holocaust to Hologram. That's included in here. You also get the original soundtrack to their live movie, Hot and Curry Wine, which, lots and lots of unreleased stuff that was, beyond just their debut album, Heavy Metal Mania, Nightcomers, and the live Hot Curry Wine album itself. So those were the 2 things that most people know about this band because Metallica had covered The Small Hours. And you've got also on here a collection of one-off singles and things of that nature from 80 to 82, so single editions and stuff like that that make up a whole album worth of rarity material as well, which is pictured there on that. So very simple clamshell style box with a little booklet in it. So no special merch or anything, but I think it's like 35 bucks or so, making it a really good deal. Coming in at number 6, Genesis BBC broadcast, 5 CD box set, 53 tracks on here, 39 of which previously unreleased. So we've got, the cool thing, performances from all 3 frontmen on here. And I have to say, that was the thing that actually intrigued me when I first went into this, because I was a fan of the Ray Wilson era. They only did the one album together, Calling All Stations, but I liked him, and so you actually do get a couple live tracks on here. You get Not About Us and The Driving or Dividing Line from 1998 at NEC. So you get Peter Gabriel, of course you're going to get him, and you're going to get Phil Collins on here. My only real complaint about this is that they spread some of the shows, like the Lyceum 1980 show, is on the end of disc 2 and spread over into CD 3. And then they do it again from CD 3 with Wembley 87 over to Wembley on CD 4. They continue the Wembley 87. Only a few tracks on here repeat. For the most part, they're all standalone songs, and it goes way back to 1970 and it comes all the way up to 1998. But then CD 5 is a 6-song Nebworth 1992 show, which is out of sequence. So the way that they did this was a little weird to me. All great stuff, but I just don't quite like how it was sequenced. I would have paid a little bit more to get individual CDs of the two Lyceum, the Lyceum show on 2 separate discs and the Wembley all on 1 disc, because if you got 2 songs on CD 3 and you've got 8 on CD 4, you could have filled it all onto 1 disc and taken off the 2 shows that had, or the 2 songs that were the Ray Wilson songs, and popped them either onto the Nebworth show from 92 or, I don't know. But that left a little bit to be desired as far as I was concerned. But the sound quality is great. The songs they chose are great. Some people complained that it didn't give you the entirety of all, of a show. Sometimes they only picked selections of stuff. But again, I know they did that so they were not duplicating. And when they did duplicate, the song itself was a pretty different version than one that we had heard earlier in it. And I think it only happens literally a handful of times. All right. Coming in at number 5, Black Crowes, A Southern Harmony Musical Companion. Their second studio album, receiving a 30th Anniversary Deluxe Edition. It's either 4 LP, but my version here is the 3 CD. When I open this up here, you get the 3 CDs on the inside. You get, some prints that are inside this thing. And then the only other thing that's in here is this, a hymnal. The hymnal's a cool thing. I own an original promo copy, so I don't need this one, which is in far too pristine of condition. But it actually has the music and everything in here, so it is like a real hymnal. Very, very cool, but it's also missing some stuff. The version I have has the little tassels and everything, and the edges are much more torn up to look really, really worn. These are worn, but these are very kind of fakely worn. Just not, it's too pristine for me. Very cool. If I didn't have a copy of that originally, I would really, really like that. I would have run out and bought that right away. But I kind of sat on it a little bit until I found out that a couple of the unreleased songs didn't make it to the 2-disc edition of it. And I wanted those unreleased studio recordings and the B-sides. And then there is a live concert from 1993 where they're basically performing the Southern Harmony and Musical Companion in its entirety. It is missing 1 song on here, Time Will Tell. Does not appear, but you get a jam in the middle of this taking its place. But you basically get the album in its entirety. I thought that was really cool. So that changed my opinion about buying it. And the song Miserable and Boomer Story were not on the 2 CD edition, and I really wanted those on here. Plus, there's some live in the studio recordings, which I thought would be pretty cool to get. But basically, all in all, it's just a huge celebration of this album. Very expensive, though. It's about $100, I think, for that, 99 bucks. So way more than it should cost for those 3 CDs. Even with that replica book in there, I thought that was kind of crazy. It should have been about 50 bucks, in my opinion. Okay, moving on. Number 4, Phil Linet and Grand Slam Slam Anthems 6 CD box set. There's all the stuff on the back of it. Clamshell style like the Holocaust one we had just seen, so all in individual sleeves. What's cool about this one here is that disc 1 is called Renovations, and it is a 2022 remix on here. So they call it 2022 remix, but this box set came out in 2023. So not sure why that is, other than it was done in 2022, but if it's not being released to 2023, they should have just called it a 2023 remix. 13 tracks on here. that sort of cherry picks the best stuff. They had released an album back around early 2000, maybe late 90s, early 2000s, and studio recordings, and not all of those appear on this disc, and in fact some other stuff appears on here, but these remixes sound so much better. I don't know what they did to enhance the quality of it, but I really like what they did to that. There's a bunch of live shows on here. You get a show from 83, 84, two actually from, three from 84. And then you get the demos. I think that might be what I was originally listening to that they had put out from 83 and 84. 15 tracks, you get all of the songs that they've done. And those sound more like what I've already got. But there's stuff on there that I didn't even have, because I think the discs that I had was like 10 tracks or something. So all in all, I got a bunch of extra demos. I got these remixes, which totally made it worthwhile. And the live shows, I have to say, are pretty darn good quality on here for this. So if you're looking for that last vestige of Phil Lynot's material and his last band that he did, Grand Slam, before passing, this is totally worth picking up. And again, not very expensive. All of these ones that are on the, well, this is a Cleopatra, and they're kind of the same way. But if you're, the Cherry Red Records label, and even when Cleopatra does it, they're usually in the $35 range. So those are definitely right up my alley in terms of costs on this. So is this next one, and Rhino, who's been doing these. Number 3, Still Good to Be Bad by Whitesnake. This is celebrating their 15th anniversary of the 10th studio album, called Good to Be Bad at the time, now called Still Good to Be Bad. I'm glad they at least gave it a little bit of a different name. Tons of bonus material on this thing, though. So there's a 2023 remix on it. You can see that a lot of bands have been doing that lately. I, for one, am up for it. They're not eliminating the original masters of these things. So getting the remix, I'm totally cool with. That's one of the reasons I was unhappy about the Van Halen box, because those remasters are replacing the original sounding albums, and I don't like the way these sound. Whereas with stuff like this, or with the Black Sabbath box, those remixes are not replacing the originals. You still go out and buy the original master of it. So you get that, but then you also get in here the alternate remixes in different versions. You get evolutions, which are the demos and stuff. You get Blu-ray audio, visual stuff on here, so music videos. You get live stuff. You get, I think, some interviews and some acoustic performances. And then, books and tour books and posters and all kinds of stuff, all individually done in one of these style boxes like this. And they're just kind of the right size, for these things. Box sets are becoming a dime a dozen. You can see it, so many of them on my back wall there, and the ones I'm just holding up here. This isn't all that I bought this year, but I probably bought somewhere between 12 and 15 box sets, and every year adding that kind of stuff. It's a lot to begin to have to store, considering how much stuff is coming out these days. All right, number 2. The Who's Next Lifehouse. So this mega 10 CD box set that celebrates the original album itself, basically almost a 50th anniversary edition of this thing. This has a whopping 155 tracks on it, 89 of which are stated to be previously unreleased. 57 have new releases done by Steven Wilson, who does a lot of remixes with our favorite prog bands like Yes and Jethro Tull and Giant. So there's a bunch of tracks on here that started out as Lifehouse that led to the classic 1971 album that became Who's Next, and that ultimately was abandoned and developed into Who's Next. But now you get all the stuff that was Lifehouse that was completed, including graphic novel. There's cool, there's a book in this, and then you get posters and pins and stuff. Unfortunately, there was also a lot of people who called out and talked about damage and stuff. There apparently wasn't very good quality control on this. Mine, for the most part, was okay. When I did my unboxing, I did find that the buttons in there had pressed into the replica band photo that's in there, nice glossy print, and had indented on it, damaging it, and that really bummed me out. But other people talked about pages that were missing from their book. I checked mine. I have those pages. I've heard about some other inconsistencies in it. It's really unfortunate because the label never responded to anyone who was inquiring about getting replacements to fix those things, so we're kind of just stuck with it. Price tag $250, and you'd think at a price tag like that, that's not okay to leave some of those things damaged like that with the fans that have shelled out their hard-earned money. I'm not saying it's all right either when it's a $35 box, but it's a little easier to stomach when it's that versus $250. Ultimately, in the end of the day, because I heard from so many people that they were having the same problem I was with the buttons indenting on the photo, that I realized even doing a return on it, it was just going to be that way. And they could have done it very simply by flipping the buttons over so that the back sides didn't indent on the photo and the round flat sides touched it. But one little simple thing like that could have saved all the headache. All right, and the number one box set of 2023 goes to Jethro Tull, Broadsword and the Beast, the Monster Edition. Another really good, high quality box set done in a smaller style like this. This time, a book style of this, where the discs are in the front and back, and you've got your book right in the middle of it like that, with killer photos and imagery and everything in there, and cool write-up, but all the discs. So 40th anniversary edition of the album itself, their 14th studio album, and originally came out in 1982. But this one had 8 discs. So unlike some of the other Jethro Tull box sets that had 3 discs, maybe 4 discs in it, this one has 8. There's 5 CDs in here featuring remixes, demos, rough mixes, and live recordings. And then on top of that, 3 DVDs. So I've steered clear of a number of these because they just didn't really provide the content that I wanted. Whereas this one here has the album, then it's got associated recordings in here, 7 more tracks, both of which have a stereo remix done by Steven Wilson. Then you get a live concert on disc 4 and 5 from 82, which has also been remixed. And you get another disc in here, which has further associated recordings remixed by Steven Wilson. And all of those songs, unreleased songs, where basically it was like getting a second album. This album could have easily been a double when it was released. And it's crazy how much extra material Jethro Tull has recorded over the years, and we're finding out from these killer box sets. But this one here, because of that quality bonus material and how this was put together, and the cost-effective price might have been around $75, I think, when it came out. Maybe it was a little more, I can't remember, because we are talking about 8 discs in this one. But I totally felt like it was worth it. When I got it home and listened to it, it just blew my mind, and I've been enjoying it ever since. And there you go. Those are my 10 favorite box sets of 2023. I'm quite sure you guys have different favorite box sets from mine. Why don't you guys go ahead and leave in the comments, let me know what is your favorite box set of 2023. But there's these 10, and if you were on the fence about any of them, maybe this helped you decide. All right, everyone, take care, have a good one, and I'll see you in 2024. Bye-bye.